to do. The draft didn't produce any starters, and you said hopefully Terran Arnold would be a guy that would be a Pro Bowl corner, because if not, we didn't get anything out of that 24 draft, man. You know what I'm saying? And I really do think now it's coming back to bite us. I think that the try hard thing is over. You know what I'm saying? And now you have to get ball players, and to replace the ball players that's been hurt on this team, the try hard guys aren't good enough, man. You know what I'm saying? Coyote, I was seeking, God bless him, man, but he's not good enough to play offensive line for the Detroit Lions. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how much you coach that kid up, man. Not just pointing out him. I'm just saying, Dan Skipper, God love him, but I don't think that he doesn't have a spot on this team now. You know what I'm saying? I think we really have to see that. I mean, those kind of guys are guys you plug in that you don't have to rely on, that you can play them one or two times during the season, but not going into a Brian Flores schemed up defense. You can't. Vic Fangio schemed up defense. It's just like you're playing Russian roulette, man. You know what I'm saying? I think we got away with it for a couple years. The offensive line was so good. Our offensive line was so good the last 2 years were on obvious passing downs, 3rd and 6, 3rd, 7, 3rd and 8. Well, we would turn around and hand the ball off to Montgomery and get those yards like nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because we would dominate the game off the offensive line. Now, we're not getting any of those yards, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think the indictment on his team this year, I think that Dan Campbell really has shown that he's not a great in-game adjustment coach. He's not. You know what I'm saying? He's a machismo. I'm gonna do what I want because I'm stronger. I'm more, to play bully ball. And they did it for a couple years. You can do it when you got Frank Ragnow and Kevin Zeitler to an extent, and Penny Sewell and Decker. You know what I'm saying? You can do it. And then when you got Mahogany as a fifth guy or a fourth guy on a 5-guy line, not Mahogany when you're trying to trust them with the season, man. I think that was the biggest. I think that I didn't think they analyzed it correctly. I really don't. I think that they thought these guys would be able to just come step right in and do the job, meaning the offensive line, with a rookie Tate Rouse. I think a lot of it with Tate Rouse has not been fair. I think that he is a first-round draft pick, and you would want to say, hey, your first-round draft pick should be able to come in and start. I mean, trust me, I'm not saying, put him in there with training wheels on, but I just think it was a lot going against you. You don't put Tate Ratledge next to Graham Glasgow at center, and you know what I'm saying. And now you're hoping he gets it or be able to man his post. And people are saying Penny Sewell has went, and it's just like Penny Sewell is basically taking on 2 and 3 guys by himself, man. You know what I'm saying? So his effectiveness is gone. Therefore, the running game effectiveness is gone now. You know what I'm saying? And thank God we got Jahmyr Gibbs, because if not, who knows where this team would be offensively, man. You know what Jahmyr Gibbs reminds me of right now, running around for his life? He reminds me of Barry Sanders. That's just how he looks, man, meaning he had to do it all himself at the line of scrimmage. He's got 2 guys he's got to beat just to get a yard, man. And I think that's taxing. That's taxing on everybody. I think that the offense has really ran into a wall. I think the rest of the season is lost to me. I just don't see him able to recapture magic and win 5 straight games to make the play. It's not going to happen this year, man. I do think we do have the ingredients of a team that's still in contention, but that's not this year, Walt. They got too many things going against them right now. You know what I'm saying? The offensive line's an issue. Jared Goff's an issue. The play call's an issue. Dan Campbell's an issue. The secondary is an issue. The linebacker's an issue. The defensive line. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you can go down the list. It's about 10 things wrong with this team right now. And God bless them for every rah-rah speech that we love to hear Dan Campbell do the last couple of years. I mean, literally, he put us in harm's way 2 and 3 times this season, man, where The play calling was ridiculous. The last 3 or 4 games, you on a 4th and 3, you continually try to run up in there with Gibbs with no offensive line. It was bush league. If you call it that, bush league, it was negligent. It was just, I cannot believe that we have not been able to figure out like how to use these guys. To have Isaac Tesla on the roster and not use him is ridiculous to me. Waste a 3rd round pick on that kid. And he can play. I'm not saying that he would be the next second coming of, you know, pick a guy, but what I'm saying is he's a lot better than what we give him credit for. I think not. I thought this is what I thought. I'll let you take it away after I'm done here. I thought that he would fill in for Tim Patrick. I thought that that would be the role for him. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 45 catches, 3 or 4. The kid's already got what, 4 touchdowns on 5 catches. I think something ridiculous like that. They just haven't managed the season right, man. Dan Campbell, just the offensive line, the offensive coordinator, that was the wrong hire, and then him taking the plays over. It's just too much. Dan is not a guy to me. He just strikes me as a guy that's calling the plays and yucking it up on the sideline and giving it to the officials. And Dan Campbell's a head coach, man. To me, he's a head coach, leader of men. You know what I'm saying? He's not an offensive coordinator too, and I think that he's taken too much on his plate, man, this year, and it's diminished his role on his team as being a leader and putting getting everybody motivated to play. He's the right guy, but boy, man, he really has not shined like Dan Campbell. You know what I'm saying? Supposed to, the last couple years, and right now, to me, we got an issue. Well, we really, really have an issue at the quarterback spot. I mean, and I don't want it to turn into we bagging on Jared Goff, and it's not his fault. The whole pie is not his fault. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's good when everything is perfect. When you got 2 Pro Bowlers on your offensive line, when you got a serviceable center, when you got Zeitler and Ragnow and Sewell and Decker, yeah, he looks good. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, well, when you get a blitz up the middle, when you get a guy that maybe didn't get out of his break quick enough, and your receiver runs the wrong route, or you have to have a guy, man, that can slide the pocket. I'm not saying he's got to leapfrog guys and hurdle guys and get a first down, because we've seen, for everybody that's saying Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, those guys haven't won a Super Bowl yet either. You know what I'm saying? For everybody that wants to say that he needs to be more mobile, those guys haven't won either. I mean, Jalen Hurt finally won. I mean, he was the guy that kind of broke that mold and won a Super Bowl last year. So before I let you take it, I just said we got a lot of problems on this team, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's service. We're selling false hope if you're saying that we're still going to make it, because they're not, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. I'm cool with that, because I do think we need another draft. We need another free agency cycle. We needed to get a real offensive coordinator over here. You know what I'm saying? People are gonna get cut loose. Mike McDaniel might get fired in Miami. It could be some guys out there that you might want to look at to get a real offensive coordinator in here. You know what I'm saying? So I'll let you take it away. I got a lot more to say, but I'll let you take it away here. Your thoughts here on this season, the direction of this team, your thoughts on Dan Campbell. I mean, how do you feel, right now we sit here 5 weeks left into this season?
All right, so I think, and this is something that we went through consistently over and over again this off season, at the beginning of free agency,
Yeah.
weeks leading up to the draft, weeks after the draft, all through training camp. We talked about this being an NFL with championship aspirations, right?
Yep.
And you you put those dreams and aspirations and hopes into the hands of young players on the interior of your offensive line. You would almost rather be young at tackle over being young on the interior, because that's where the bullying starts. You can chip out and help a young tackle from time to time, but when you have a guy like Panay Sewell, who is hands down one of the five best at his position in the NFL,
Yes.
probably, actually not even probably, since he's came in the league, he's one of the three best left tackles, right tackles, pound for pound in the NFL.
Yeah.
When he's in a situation where he can't just be on the island dominating his guy,
Yeah.
he has to consistently help on the right guard. And even when he's helping on the right guard is still getting beat. And then by the time he gets back to his man is already by him, or they've already ran some tight end stun on the inside and they got him off that. Like, there's way too much going on with this team right now. But that was our biggest question before the season started. And we said one or two things was going to happen. Either that young offensive line was going to play way above their heads and shock us all, and we won't miss a step without Frank, or they're going to crash and burn. Now, to be completely fair to them, they haven't honestly crashed and burned. It's been very up and down. Now, the bad
Mhm.
part about it is most of the ups came against bad competition, and most of the downs came against the good competition. You
Yeah.
know, but all of this goes back to this team, this organization not taking reinventing themselves seriously on a year-to-year basis. When you hear your GM, I can't recall hearing any GM say this out loud. Maybe a lot of GMs have felt this way secretly, but for Brad Holmes to be as aloof and tone deaf to the needs of his team, for him to verbally say to the media, to your fan base, well, hey, in case you forgot, we were 15-2 a year ago with a lot of guys on IR. And, we kind of view those guys as free agents, coming back. Those guys you had on IR, those guys weren't difference makers, though. Like, they were regular guys. And people here laughed at, I get it. It didn't really work out for Minnesota. They signed Jonathan Allen in free agency, but he's been decent. But at the end of the day, Minnesota is not looking at, going to the playoffs. We're in a situation right now, we're looking at potentially not going to the playoffs. But the Eagles made the moves they made. The Eagles have made random moves throughout the season so far. Now, are the Eagles in a better situation than us right now? Probably not. They can kind of feel the playoffs slipping away if they don't, get their S together as well. But we're talking about teams in your conference that have put forth a real solid effort to build a better team year after year. Not just thumb their nose at free agency and say, taking care of our guys. We're not worried about the rest of those high paid guys. Those guys want too much money. There were too many guys you could have gotten that could have legitimately helped this team. Even the defense. The defense is still playing high high over their head right now because they still haven't solved the edge rush situation. They still haven't solved the interior rush situation. Is Tyleek Williams a good player? Yes, he is. He doesn't really help in pass defense, though. And as far as stopping the pass, he doesn't.
Yeah.
A guy like Josh Pascal. You and I both like Josh Pascal coming out of Kentucky because we like his versatility. I don't think either one of us thought that he was going to be someone that this organization 5, 6 years rebuild, because it's not even a rebuild anymore. You're built. But 6 years into
Right.
this,
That's right.
this would be a guy that we're still leaning on to
Mhm.
be a guy that plays a real effort, role for us. And
This
we
is.
thought back then that a lot of those guys, and I'll get to you 1 second, but we
Mhm.
thought back then that, and we talked about this on numerous shows, what could potentially be a downside to this regime and their outlook on building the football team. Falling in love with your own guys. We said a lot of guys that we had in year 2 and year 3 should still be here in year 5. We said that numerous times. There's guys that are still here that shouldn't still be here. There are positions on this team that still have not been upgraded. We set up here prior to last year's draft. We talked about Quinyon Mitchell. We talked about Nate Wiggins. We talked about Kamari Lassiter in Houston. We talked about all of these different players, even safeties. We
Yeah.
talked about Andrew Makuba. We talked about
Yep.
Cooper DeJean. And what the hell did the Philadelphia Eagles do? In 2 drafts, they drafted 3 of the guys we said we wanted Detroit to have. Andrew Makuba
Yeah.
this year. We wanted him. Philadelphia took him. We wanted Quinyon Mitchell. Philadelphia took him. We wanted Cooper DeJean, and we couldn't get one of those other guys or Wiggins.
Yeah.
They go back and get him in the second round. And what happened with the 2 guys we drafted? One guy can't see the damn field because he's 180 pounds, and the other guy was completely overdrafted and put in a situation where he was asked to be something that he's not. Now, can we be
Yeah.
mad at Terrion Arnold and say he's a bust or whatever, considering where he was drafted? Sure. Because whether fans here want to admit it or not, you expect Pro Bowl caliber ability out of the first round pick. Honestly,
Yeah.
you ask most GMs and the NFL head coaches, they expect the guy drafted in the first or second round to be a Pro Bowl level player. That's why second round and first round picks are so taxing and damaging when organizations lose them. But we go back to the 2024 draft. You can't blow an entire draft and thumb your nose at free agency and say, hey, we got our guys. We don't need
Bingo.
any of these other guys out here. We're
Right.
fine. Hey, 15-2, remember that? That was us. That was us, you
That's
guys.
right.
And then, hey, why not? We all what? Let's get 4 or 5 Aiden Hutchinsons. To be that condescending to your own fan base, like you got it completely figured out, and then another season unfolds and you obviously don't have it all figured out because we still don't have a pass rush, and then the hometown kid got his money, we all were happy for that. But you see a guy like Myles Garrett get the money he got. This guy is on pace to shatter the record for most sacks in the season.
Yeah.
4 or 5 sacks. It's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. Yep. And I just want to say this, man. And you're right. And I agree. Sometimes you the one that kind of calm me down, especially on the draft, because I remember I was all excited, man. I'm like, yeah, Sione Vaki. I remember him. Yeah, Utah. He was a guy that they was using him as safety and hitting guys, and just remembering how he played at Utah. And you like, dude, he's not what this team needs. And you was right. I mean, I you just get excited. You get everything you think the team does. Sometimes you kind of fall in love with it and you say it's going to work automatically. Yeah, I agree. Brent's right. We going off of what last year was, and it's like I even said my motto is always from year to year the league changes, the team, your competition changes, and your team changes from year to year. I don't care how good you are. Even Philly, look at Philly. Now they find themselves in a kind of a pickle a little bit. Yeah, even though I think the Eagles gonna make the playoffs, but I think they're gonna win the division. That's why they're kind of like they don't have a choice really. But um, to your point, Walt, I do think that this team, man, counting on guys like you could just count guys like Ennis Rakestraw hasn't played, like you said. Makai Wingo hasn't played. Another guy they drafted, 4th or 5th round. You got injuries, to key spots on your team, man. It's just too much to overcome. I mean, and the usage of St. Brown, I think I told you, remember about a month ago, Walt, it just seemed like to me St. Brown was hurt a month ago, I thought. You know what I'm saying? I think he's been gutting it out. But when you get a guy and you use him and you run him into the ground and you just don't have any other options, it feels to me that's what's happened with St. Brown. That's what happened with Jahmyr Gibbs. It's like their offense, they have been our offense. And if we haven't spread, look at Laporta's stats before Laporta got hurt. He hasn't near about been productive as he was, the last 2 years. You know what I'm saying? We haven't spread the ball around. Jameson Williams, he did drop a key first down that we could have kept the chains moving in that one. That was the only thing he's done the last month that you haven't praised the kid, because I think he's the one guy that the media tries to bait him into saying he's unhappy, and he hasn't done it, man. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what the fatuation is with people in this town that like want to like bash this kid for no reason at all. You know what I'm saying he shouldn't have got the money. He's not good enough. He's not mature enough. The antics has got to stop. I mean, really, are we talking about celebrations here from scoring a touchdown? Is that what you're going
Bro,
to
look what it
label him as?
is.
Yeah,
Those are certain fans that always want to point to something else.
yeah,
Like this stuff is not the root of the problem. Like after
yeah.
the last 3 games, aside from the Commanders game where we blew them out, but the past 3 games, they found any and every excuse other than this team is just not good enough. Oh well, the refs got it out for us.
Mhm.
Well, the refs didn't have
Yeah,
it out for you last year when you was 15-2,
yeah,
or the year before that when you was 12-4. It's always an excuse. Oh well, JMO, that 1 point situation completely changed the complexity of the game. But they find anything other than Dan Campbell has failed us in situations because
oh
that's
yeah,
something else here.
yep,
He gets
yep,
treated as a sacred cow because he got us 2 playoff wins since 1991. And you have people in his fan base that feel like he's bulletproof. And you can't say anything critical of him. This
yeah,
man has single-handedly over the past 3 years cost us games. We talked about, well, maybe in year two. Remember year one and year two. Well, you
yeah,
know what? You know, Ashanti, once he gets better players, he'll stop doing it. He hasn't stopped doing it. And
yeah,
to double down on the stubbornness to the media and say, well, this is what we do. Dog, that's bullshit.
yeah,
That's like as a head coach in the NFL, that's not the way you manage football games off emotion. You just said this earlier in the show. It's like he gets by off bravado and dropping his onions on the table constantly. My
yeah,
guys are more physical than your guys. My guys are tougher than your guys. We'll get this 4th of 3. Damn it, we didn't get it. Oh well.
yeah, yeah,
Instead of using his mind and thinking his way through games, he likes to bravado his way through games. That's
yeah,
not gonna get us anywhere. That's only gonna get us so far, man. So
yeah,
far. And then you pair that with what you said about the quarterback situation. Is it Goff's fault? Hell no, it's not his fault. But it gets to a point where you expect your elite quarterback to be able to stop the bleeding.
there we
He's
go.
not capable of stopping the bleeding. If we getting
Yeah,
stabbed, he right there next to getting stabbed too. Like
yeah,
there's
yeah.
not much
If
fight he
it's
can put up.
yeah, like you said, because I remember you texted me when we was down against the Eagles, I think it was, and you was like,
We
eh,
helpless. Like he
yeah,
can't do
right,
anything for us.
right. If it's 10-3, remember that game wasn't. Remember Dan Campbell was coaching like it was 10-0,
Nine to
like it was
six,
four.
yeah.
It was remember it was 3-0, and we were desperate as hell. And 3-0. I want all the listeners, everybody watching that Philly game. It was 3-0, and we going. We was like 0 for 5
Going
on
for it.
fourth down. It was ridiculous, man. Totally ridiculous. And I felt like once they scored on us and made it was just like we wasn't gonna score. It just felt, and then they said, well, the penalty with the push off, at the end of the game, decided that the Lions would have got the ball. They wasn't gonna score again. They hadn't scored the whole game. What makes you think, oh, magically this last drive that he was gonna catch lightning in a bottle and right 3-1,
Maybe I
3 point
need a
win.
less graphic comparison.
Right.
But let's say if we listen, if we getting stuck up, he
Yeah.
right there next to us getting stuck up with his hands too.
Right, right.
Like that's
It's like
we
it's
stuck.
like, and then the rest of the team, like, dude, don't you got a black belt karate? Don't you got like, can't you help out? Can't you do something to stop? Like you said, and
Yeah,
I
but
think,
you guys got to distract him before I can do my stuff.
yeah, and it's like I think that wow, and I think Lorenzo Allen he mentioned this on the Woodward Sports Tape. He said body language is everything, and he was right. I mean, this team, the body language, they don't look the same, man. And I'm a big proponent of that. And I think when this team gets down, they know they're in trouble. When that game plan ain't working, they in trouble. You know what I'm saying? And they've been getting away with it for 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So uh, I do think, yeah, and I want to just say this about Aiden Hutchinson. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, hometown
He
kid,
pressures
love
fast,
Aiden
man.
Hutchinson, love him, man. You know what I'm saying? But he hasn't been good enough. I just say that. I mean, I think they put this fake pressures thing up. Well, he's got 95 pressures He's got 200 pressure since to dude. You got to get home. You got
You
to
know what's but you know what's damning
deflect the
about him?
pass.
You
Yeah.
know what was really damning about those pressure stats and his sack stats? Damn near half of his sacks career wise, I believe, have come against tight ends when they
Oh,
lined
yeah,
up.
okay. Yeah.
So he's not even beating NFL caliber tackles
Yeah.
consistently for the number
Yeah.
2 overall pick.
That's right. That's right. And then you look at a guy, and I can't believe I'm saying this. You look at a guy like Michael Parsons with the Packers. He gets to the quarterback, man. I'm just using him because he's the guy that's in our division. You know what I'm saying? He's the guy that gets to the quarterback, man. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no excuses. It ain't no, well, he got chipped by a running back and he got chipped by this guy that was too. No, get to the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no. I seen a video with Bill Cowher was the coach of the Steelers, and he was telling Levon Kirkland and those guys that were on his defensive line at the time. He said he looked him in the eye on the sideline and he said rush the quarterback. He goes forget the X and O's, forget the clipboards, the iPads, forget all that stuff. We're not looking at none of that stuff. Get to the quarterback. That's your job. Get to the quarterback. No excuses. I don't want to hear it. I don't. But I can say this: part of it is Brad Holmes not giving him adequate help. I can't say that. You do need a guy on the threat of another guy on the other side, and the Lions don't have it. And they just refuse to even look at that part of the team. It's almost like that part of the team don't even matter to them. Like you could have
I
anybody play. You know
I
what I'm
can't
saying?
really say that, bro, because since he's come in the league, he's been getting a ton of pressures.
Yeah.
He's just not the closer. And I think that's a big difference between like the elite of the elite edge rushers, the
Yeah.
elite of the elite edge rushers, the TJ Watts, the Bosas, the Miles Garrett's of the world. Those guys close. He
Yeah.
doesn't always close the best. And something I have noticed with him, which was something that was deemed as a negative with
Yeah.
him coming out of college, was his arm length.
Yeah.
What I noticed with him is that when tackles typically get up under his collar, he's kind of done. You know, he doesn't have a whole lot of flexibility and range with his arm length to really do much else.
Yeah.
And that third move may not always be there either. You know, so it's like, is he him? Because somebody mentioned that in the comment section about him. I don't think he's him because by this time, we would know he's him. And it may sound messed up because people, well, give him time. He's still coming back from an injury. I think that's bullshit too. Because
No.
we
No.
spent all season telling people to taper their expectations for him. And we had this fan base telling us all offseason that he'll be fine. He
Yeah.
destroyed his knee before. He'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, I can't blame nothing on his knees or his legs because he's getting pressures. He's just not closing. And we can't say he doesn't have help on the inside. He's got Aleem McNeil, even though McNeil just came back recently, but he had Aleem last year. He had Aleem the year before that.
Yeah.
He's
DJ
had
Reader.
DJ Reader. He's had help on the interior. It's not like he's out there playing with a bunch of construction barrels. I
Yeah.
just question how good he really is. And did he peak his final year at Michigan? Because his final year at Michigan was his best season. He played with a bunch of guys, even though most of those guys that he played with along that front seven at Michigan that year haven't done a whole lot in the NFL.
Yeah.
But he had some decent guys, Mike Morris, and there were some decent guys along
Kenneth
that
Grant
defense.
wasn't Kenneth Grant on that
Yeah,
team? Yeah,
yeah,
Kenneth Grant. Yeah.
yeah. Like he had some guys. He had Mozzie for a year, so he
Mhm.
had a decent talented guys on there, and he didn't really peak until that final year at Michigan. So
Yeah.
is he still a really good player? Yes, but they don't pay you for pressures.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if you
And
ask Chad Ochocinco, he said
yeah.
when it comes to the wide receiver position, they don't pay me for catches, they paying me for touchdowns. They care how
Mhm.
much I affect the scoreboard. They don't care how many catches I get.
That's right.
And it's the
That's
same
right.
thing with these edge rushers, man. Fans got to leave this pressure shit alone.
Yeah,
Pressures don't
man.
matter if you're not affected to play. What does it matter if you pressure Jameis, but he steps up in the pocket and picks up the 3rd and 15 with a strike down the middle of the field? Yeah, you got pressure, but that
Yeah.
pressure didn't lead to shit. It didn't
Right.
stop the play. Like
That's right.
these
That's right.
fans here are just so caught up in PFF and these grades, and well, they said one in pressures to the left and all like it don't matter if it's not affecting nothing, and we don't have any playmakers. Kirby
When's
Joseph,
the
you could
last
argue
time?
that situation been affected. He might not play the rest of the season.
Yeah, yeah, might shut him down the rest of the season. And matter of fact, I banged the table last year from Demetrius Knight Jr. at linebacker. I thought that was a guy to line. He looked good for the Bengals right now. That was a guy South Carolina. The Lions could have looked at. I think we got to revamp our linebacker core.
That's true
You know,
too.
our linebacker core has to get revamped. Our secondary has to get revamped. I was a big proponent of DJ Reed. That was the one guy I liked. DJ Reed ain't it. He's a CB2. DJ Reed is not a top corner in this league, in my opinion. I think he's good, but he's like I say, he's a cornerback too. The Lions have to get a cornerback in this draft. They have to get a starting guy who could hold his own and play man and not get stuck and caught on that. You know what I'm saying? I think they got to work that situation out. And I've been a tearing out a guy for 2 years. I like the kid. I think that he's got some good traits. I think he's a good person, more so than any, all of that stuff too. But I don't think he's it either, man. I've been trying to be, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be patient, but
I think he's a good football player. Let's let fans know.
yeah,
We don't think he's bad. I think he's a nickel, a
he's not a
third guy.
start. Yep, he's not a starting CB1 in this league, man. It's been 2 years. I just for me, I expect more. I demand more. If you're talking about we're a championship team, we don't have championship players, man. We don't. You know what I'm saying? And it's been a couple years. Malcolm Rodriguez, the guy, he may not be on this team next year. You know what I'm saying? And you like him, but
well, let's get into some contract talk. Like, what about Alex too? Because there's a good chance that
Alex
Alex
won't be on this team next year. He's another. I think he's still pissed about his contract. He didn't even remember. He didn't cause a ruckus. Remember he held out like the first week of training camp, but he did wind up coming back. And they didn't never have a contract. I just think he might have played and didn't go to the media or nothing like that. I don't see him.
He's
on
been a
this
good
team.
player this season too.
Yeah, he's been okay. The linebacker like Jack Campbell's been okay, but he got caught in some bad spots in the last game because I think he's like trying to do everything. Jack has really been the one guy who, I roll with Jack Campbell, and he's been impressive. He's the play call. He's the guy that's calling the
He's a
plays.
tackle machine, but he's not really Jack with the big time forced fumble to stop the play.
They don't cause
or
any
Jack
turnover.
with the interception. Like
Jack
Jack with a two and a half sack game. Like, I don't know if it's because they don't utilize him enough in those facets where he can be a difference maker.
Yeah.
Or are they just telling Jack to stay in that spot and be a robot and just make tackles?
Yeah. Well, he, like you said, I think he does what he does best. I think Jack, we get his hands on you, you going down. I mean, that's what I like about him. I love Jack Campbell on that regard, but it's just almost like we got a couple dinosaurs, man. I like Derek Barnes. They paid Derek Barnes, but I just think we need to infuse some new talent in there. Like, we can keep Barnes, that's fine. We can keep. I think Anzalone's going to be the guy that won't be back. I really do. I think Campbell loves him, but I don't know, if he's going to factor in. Well, we need some young Nolan Smith type hybrid guy that can come in there and play, man. And like, I agree with Guitar Bit. Jack is the guy. He is, but it's almost like we got one guy. You know what I mean? It's almost like teams know.
Well, that's because in guitar, I agree too. I agree, but I think they need to surround Jack with some more difference makers, a Michael Parsons or whatever, because he's from tackle to tackle. Jack got that, and to the outside to the boundary, he got that. They just need to get Jack some difference makers around him, and Barnes isn't that. Malcolm isn't that. They need a guy like Arvell Reese. I think from Ohio State, even though they're not gonna get a chance to get a guy like Arvell Reese. Pretty sure Big Ten football fans know who he is. He at Ohio State, the linebacker, but they need a weapon in that front seven. If you're not gonna get a defensive end and replace Davenport, they need. We've been saying that for the past 2 years too. They need a guy, a weapon. They can move around in their front seven, line them up at 5 technique, line them up at 4 from time to time, line them up off ball or whatever. A guy that can get after the court, like even like a Will Anderson for that matter.
Yeah,
we scream for Will Anderson. They didn't want to trade up for Will Anderson. Now, ultimately, they got a pretty good player, but
Mhm. It's
that's
almost
another.
like
Yeah,
no, I'm sorry. Um, it's almost like it was almost like this year that if we don't make the playoffs, don't win the division, it's almost like I don't want to be because I didn't want them to lose. I don't want to sound like I want them to lose or anything. It's almost like they kind of needed to go through what they're going through, man, for everybody in the organization to kind of see like, well, damn, we wasn't as good as we thought, and we shouldn't have stood pat, and we should have went after this guy, or we should have, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like we kind of need to not get in the playoffs, not win the listen, winning the division, not win the division, and seeing Chicago and seeing uh Ben Johnson with no shirt on in the locker room. Are you kidding me? That almost made me throw up yesterday, bro. Seeing that, we should be winning this division. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no, now that we're like the third team at best in this division now. You know what I'm saying? It's sort of like it's humble pie, man. It really is. Because do I think that we are a playoff? Of course we are. But I think ebbs and flows happen during the season, and it's almost like the injuries you can't overcome it. The mishaps on the field, coaching wise, you can't overcome it. You can't overcome it having nine playmakers on defense. You can't overcome that. You know what I'm saying? You got guys like Brian Branch that looks human now because I think that the team around them is not as strong as they were. You know what I'm saying? You don't have, like you said, Kirby Joseph been out for a while. It's almost seems like he's been out damn near the whole season, it seems like. But it's chinks in the armor. St. Brown don't look as mighty as he did, you know what I'm saying, without Laporta and without, with him being having to be the shoulder to load and be the number one guy. All those guys got purpose on our team, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think that starting with the offensive line, it's almost like you got this structure and you got this hammer and you hitting the hammer, you hit the structure with the hammer at the bottom half of it. And you start to chip away at it. And it started to get a little bit weak. And if you keep chipping that statue, it's gonna come down, man. And I think right now it's on its way down right now. We trying to hold it up. We trying to get rope and we trying to get everything to hold this statue up. We got 10 guys trying to hold it up, but it's too heavy. You know what I'm saying? The load is too heavy this year, man. And I do believe that. I
yeah,
do think that and it has been a weird season. It has, because look at who's leading every division. Look at the playoff teams. Look at
yeah.
all of these teams that are look. We talking about the Colts and we talking about the Patriots and the Broncos and you know what I mean. Look at Seattle. Seattle's a team we thought that would be. We knew Seattle always draft good, but we thought that they might have been a year away or without Sam Darnold. It's just been a weird season.
Well,
I
look at the
can't.
Ravens. The Ravens are
I look.
just crawled back to 500, over
Yeah,
500. Well, no,
yeah,
they lost to Cincinnati Thanksgiving
yeah.
night, but yeah, it's been a very very weird season. And look at Joe Burrow, and I want to get your questions, your thoughts on this because Corey brought up something that I know a lot of fans do want to talk about. Question for you guys, and tell the truth: do you guys think Goff can get us there? I know a lot of fans want to bring up stats, but facts are in big games he chokes. That's why LA got rid of him. It's weird because they got rid of him after year 5, and this is year 5 for us. Like we approaching the end of year 5. It's gonna be tough to get rid of him because you win with him. So it's tough to get. It takes certain level of balls to get rid of a quarterback you're winning with. We saw
Yeah,
Andy Reid do it with Alex
yeah,
Smith in Kansas City. Yes, the Chiefs were an 11-win team with Alex Smith at quarterback, and he moved away from that man. He gambled on Patrick
yeah,
Mahomes, but it's paid off because at the end of the day,
yeah,
there's a good chance they never win a single Super Bowl with Alex Smith as their quarterback. But I just think that, man, in an era where you need your quarterback to be a playmaker, a difference maker, he doesn't have to necessarily be Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, a big time mobile quarterback. He doesn't have to be a mutant, but you need him to be at least a guy who can stop the bleeding. You look at Joe Burrow a couple nights ago. Joe Burrow hadn't played in what, 2 months?
yeah, yeah. 2
Joe
months.
stepped in, stopped the bleed. Now, ultimately, the Bengals probably won't still make the playoffs, but
Yeah.
the elite quarterbacks can stop the bleeding. They don't bleed out standing next to you. And we talked about this before the season started. Me and you both felt, and a lot of the people in the comment section agreed with us. They felt that this was going
Hmm.
to be a line drawn in the sand season for Jared Goff. At the end of
Yep.
this season, you were either going to love him or hate him.
Hmm.
And I
And he,
think if this team goes on to miss the playoffs and they like keep losing, they finish what 2-4 in their last 6 games or whatever it may be.
yeah,
Elite quarterbacks don't allow that to happen. Now, people can say, well, look at Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. Yeah, but Pat got what 5 Super Bowl appearances under his belt.
yeah, that's
Pat
right.
got 3 of them rings.
That's right.
So Pat do to have an off season.
Hmm.
Jared
That's
Goff doesn't get that cachet. He's only been to one, and he played awful in the one he's been to. So I think for this fan base, they need to figure out, okay, year 5, what do
yeah.
we want our team to be moving forward for the next 5 years? Because I don't think, and this is my opinion, Corey, and you done watched enough of us to know this. I don't believe Jared Goff is the guy. I felt from day one he was a guy who, best case scenario, he comes here, he plays well the first 3 years. We can get away with not having to reach on a quarterback and give up draft capital trade up for a guy who ultimately would be proven to not be the guy. I always felt that once this team hit like year 6, a year 7, was going to probably be a young quarterback leading it. Now, will they replace him at the end of the season? Hell no, they won't. But I do think next season there's a good chance that if he doesn't, for lack of a better phrase, shit or get off the pot, which I mean, what I mean by that is prove that you don't have to have everything perfect around you for us to win with you. Show us that when things are going bad around you, you can pull us up and you can stop the bleeding. A 8 game losing streak or a 2 out of 6 game losing streak shouldn't become that with an elite quarterback. An elite quarterback at least gets you to 4-6 or 5 and whatever it may be.
Yeah. I
So
see
if
what you're
this
saying.
team just keeps unraveling and he's not a difference maker, he can't stop the bleeding. We've seen teams move on from better quarterbacks to him. That's what another thing need to get fans to understand. We haven't we're kind of like in unventured territory because we're not used to winning. So this is the best we've seen. My kids ain't never seen a Lion team this good.
Hmm.
Neither of
Yeah.
yours. So this is kind of, for our age group, we kind of like holding on to this real tight because we don't want to lose it because we know what it's like prior to this. But I'm gonna throw a team out there that
Yeah.
is gonna jog a lot of fans' memories. That I think this team kind of reminds me of where they at right now. Remember the Detroit Lions of the mid to late 90s? Early mid to late 90s with Wayne Fonts, and they would score a lot of points and put up these numbers, and Herman Moore would have 100 catch season for 1,100 yards, and Perryman would have his numbers, and Morton, and
Yeah.
they would kind of be bad for a portion of the season, and then they'll win 5 out of 7 and get to the playoffs just to get their heads cracked. And they were kind of crossroads. Everybody loved Wayne Fonts. He was the fun-loving head coach. The media
Yeah.
loved him. He got us out of a situation we were in the early 90s, right after that loss to the Washington Redskins. But we never got over the hump. And when he got fired, people were hurt here because they really love Wayne Fonts, the character.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But
I mean,
I,
I just throw that out there because people have been comparing this team to a lot of different teams. The Rams team, who was at a crossroads 5 years ago when they
yeah,
decided to move off golf. So,
this is
what
what
is your overall
I,
thoughts on golf?
yeah, first of all, okay, like you said, they're not going to get rid of Jared Goff. That's number one. Number two is do it's the two-part question for me. Do I think he's the guy? No, I don't. I don't think that we've seen enough, okay, to know that it's not going to happen with him. You know what I'm saying? At quarterback. I'm saying happen if you're trying to win. I'm saying if you seriously trying to win, because the roster is not going to be perfect. You're going to have injuries during the season. You're going to have
Absolutely.
plays that don't work. Okay, you're going to have your scheme being snuffed out sometimes, and you have to ad lib, and you have to, sometimes you got to go. Isn't that why they wear those? They have audibles, they have pre-snap reads, they got, what I'm saying, there's other things at the line of scrimmage that could be done. You know what I mean, to see. Um, the problem I think everybody's having, at least for me, is the offensive line isn't right. That's the one carrot I think we have, the feather I think Jared Goff's got in his hat right now. He could say, "Well, my offensive line is not what they were." Okay, as soon as I hike the ball, I got 3 or 4 guys on me. The minute I say, I hike the ball, so that part of it I do think is a little bit unfair, but to answer the question, I know I don't think that he's the guy to be paying. For him to be getting $50 million, it's always down to the contract. People always bring that up, but he's not a guy that's going to win the Super Bowl. The problem I got, and that's fine if he's the quarterback next year, that's fine. The even bigger problem I have is not having a guy waiting in the wings like a Jordan Love when Aaron Rodgers was quarterback. And this organization refused, even before Brad Holmes, they just will not get a back. I'm talking about draft. They tried with, I guess they tried it with Hendon Hooker, but they seen that was the answer. But I mean, like a Dante Moore, what's the kid coming out of LSU, Nussmeyer. That's another guy that I like. I mean, can you guys draft a real quarterback and put him in your system? And so when the time comes, God forbid, let's just say Jared Goff got hurt, right? Who are we putting? Kyle Allen? Okay, Kyle Allen had what, a good preseason game against 4 third or fourth stringers. You know what I'm saying? And everybody said, "Oh, well, he's the backup that we never had." Well, guess what? Kyle Allen
Well,
sucks too.
a
You know what I'm
lot of
saying?
that
He
was
does.
a lot of that was a lot of uh feelings towards Hendon Hooker. They would have said anybody. They got a lot of some people just got Hooker out of the city, but they have to
Mhm.
draft one this year. Not saying they got to draft one in the first round or second or even third for that matter, but
No, I think
upon the organization if they didn't draft a guy.
yeah, and I agree. Like I said, we're gonna get into the draft. I think we're gonna get into it sooner than later this year. More so. I don't know if we're gonna be having playoff football around here, so it's gonna be draft talk. But like I said, it's a lot of blame to go around, and for me to have the roster that we have, the amount of money that we're paying out right now, is you get that. Right now, you get the teams where they underperform, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think that really right now, I think the Eagles were a perfect example of that. The year that they lost before they won the Super Bowl. Remember, they lost their coordinators, and then they got bounced in the first round of the playoffs by Tampa, and everybody was kind of looking around like, well, wait a minute, Philly, y'all got talent top to bottom. You got the quarterback, you got the coach, but and then remember it went to a point to where Sirianni was getting ready to get fired. It was like they were going to fire Nick Sirianni, and he kind of saved his job because the team turned it around. So right now, yeah, looking at what Guitar Bid just typed in, with Decker, Frazier, Ragnar, Glasgow, Sewell. Yeah, I'm more intrigued than most people about Miles Frazier, because I think that he's a guy that, obviously you're not gonna. He's the rest, for put this way, the rest of the season. I want to see Miles Frazier in there, man, to kind of see what we have, because I think if you're starting Awasika and what's the other Cologne, the kid Tristan Cologne at center, Miles Frazier got just as chance as those guys to make this roster for next year. So yeah,
Right.
6'5", 325. Miles Frazier should be in there. I agree, because I want to see what we have, because I want to know if I need to draft another. I don't even think it's a given that you draft another offensive lineman. Whether you draft a center, I'm drafting another center, even though Frank Ragnow's coming back. I'm still drafting the center. I'm not getting caught next year with the offensive line not being intact. You know what I'm saying? And poor Frank, because I think now it's too late. I think Frank now is coming back. It's too late now. You know what I
Let's
mean?
say Frank sat up in his chair, then sat right back down.
Yeah, it's too late. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
it's pointless.
you know, it's just pointless at this point. But you get to a point. I thought we talked. We had it, me, you, and Lamar, Spirit of Detroit. We had this conversation about Jared Goff. I think maybe 2 years ago, and I remember vividly. I said that it's not going to end well. You know what I'm saying? When he leaves, what I mean is, like you said, the team is either going to underperform or they get to the biggest spot that they've ever been in, and he doesn't come through. You know what I mean? And I think right now we're underperforming, like I said. But I do think that this organization is in the best condition they've been in a while. Like, as far as, even if, yeah, right. I wanted Jackson Power Johnson too. Yep, just what you said, Guitar Pit. And it's another reason last year was just so frustrating at the draft, because I think that we just would have drafted two of those kids that we kind of wanted last year, we wouldn't be in this spot, man. You know what I mean? On one on offense, one on defense. It's just an unbelievable turnaround from where we were last year to sit here at 7-5 on the outside, looking in. People say, well, why are you saying the Lions not going to make the play? Let's look at the schedule. I mean, you look at the Cowboys coming in here next week. The Cowboys are on a hot streak right now, right? They're a better team without Micah Parsons than they were with them. You know what I'm saying? Getting Quentin Williams, and they have really turned that roster into, a defensive like minded team now. You know what I'm saying? To go with that already offense was okay. Now they boosted it up a little bit. I don't think that's going to be an easy game. Like, everybody's penciling that game as a win already. I mean, I don't know if the Lions are going to, their offensive line's still bad. So I don't know what's going to turn around in 1 week and think they're going to beat the Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? A team that can get pressure up the middle. So good luck with that, man. You know what I'm saying? Good luck beating the Rams in LA, 2 weeks from now. Good luck going to Chicago week 18 in the cold in January and beating
If people
the
don't want to
Bears
write the
now.
Lions off, if they lose that
Yeah,
Dallas game, you're gonna write them off completely. Because that means you
yeah,
lost the tiebreaker to Philly, and you lost it to Dallas, and you lost it to Green Bay, and there's a good chance that Rams game is going to bury you in too. So listen, this team might end up. This could be a blessing in disguise. They could end up in a position where they can get a very elite player, draft position wise, where they end up. Now, I don't
yeah.
want to see this team lose out and end up with a
No,
top
of
10
course
pick or
not.
nothing
Of
like
course
that.
not.
Or
No,
but sometimes you need a season like this to hold a mirror up in front of you to show you that,
that's right.
damn, I ain't the shit no more. I'm getting
Mhm.
I'm getting some crow's feet over here.
Yeah. And
let
remember, I
me, let
said
me,
that.
let me
Remember, I said what this team needs. I always felt this since. You're right. You're right. Know that. You're right. Um, this team needed to be like the underdog all the time. I don't think we handle successful. I mean, it might sound stupid, but we don't handle being 15-2 and everybody coming for us. We're not that team. Dan Campbell's not that kind of coach.
well, then that's
We're rah,
we
what kind of
we
rah
ain't
rah
good. Then.
speech? Right. That's what I'm.
We
There
ain't
we
good
go.
because you
That's
got
what
to
I'm getting
become
back to.
comfortable being the 100. The Eagles are comfortable being the 100. The Chiefs are
That's right.
comfortable being the 100. I've heard a lot of fans say what you just said. So y'all comfortable losing and catching people by surprise? Like
That,
we ain't catching nobody by surprise no more.
that's right. That's right. And that was the point I was trying to make. Like, you can do it when you got less than and you got try hard guys, and you preaching that let's win one for the Gipper. You pre and that's good, right? But when you become good, you have to be able to sustain it, man. And I think we're in that spot where we don't know how to handle it. Like, what I mean? Meaning, because you could say, well, Philly won the Super Bowl. Why the heck are they overloading on defense, or why are they overloading on getting any free agent that's known to man? Why are they signing them? Because they see it's hard to be at the top, and people are gunning for you. You got to be able to have backups, and you got to be able to sustain when the losing streak comes. And I mean, for me, yeah, right now, and that's the big question right there, Brent. I mean, are you not gonna okay? Ragnar comes back. Are you gonna go into another draft and say, not draft a center? I mean,
Frank ain't
again,
playing here next year.
yeah,
I
it's
doubt it.
like it's like you gotta move on from all of that, man, and get the right guys in here. I think the biggest for me in the draft, if I had to prioritize it right now, I would go the bit. Let's just say we don't make the playoffs, which I hope we do, but let's just say we don't. Then we're gonna be guaranteed what a top 15 pick, right? Isn't it like top 15 or something like that if we don't make the playoff? So if you telling me if I can get the best defensive end or the best corner or the best offensive lineman available, what I mean, we gonna fill in the blanks here pretty soon in a couple months of who we should be picking, but it's tough right now. I would say we need a corner. I mean, I really because I want that side of the field. We need offensive line, but I want to see what Miles Frazier shows me because I do think we have something with Frazier and Mahogany. Mahogany's hurt again, but I'm willing to give up and give Miles Frazier a chance and say we need a lockdown cornerback over an edge rusher. I think that's the biggest problem right now. Edge rusher's obviously number two. You know what I mean? Please, if Brad Holmes watching this, get yourself an edge rusher, man. You know what I'm saying? Get yourself another guy who can just be. How many sacks have came out of that side of the field? That I don't even know if anybody gotten a sack. I think Davenport got one sack. I think so far. I'm sorry, Muhammad had like three or four the first 3 or 4 games, but he hasn't. He's barely even played since then. That's another thing. Like what I mean? It's just they haven't been consistent on on that side of the ball. So I mean, what would you say? Well, I mean, if I had to ask you, like, how do you feel about what's your thought? First pick, like we don't make the playoffs, top 15 pick. Where you going? I mean, just saying, just try to off the top of your head.
Personally, looking at this draft, everything is what it is right now. Nothing's gonna shake up until probably early February, probably second week of February. But you can probably get one of the three best tackles, offensive tackles in the class, picking somewhere in the top 20. Um, I haven't really looked at free agency right now to see what's coming up. For sure, two things for certain: he ain't spending money on corner in free agency. He's shown he's not gonna do that. He's gonna go as cheap as possible and hope he strikes gold with somebody. Listen, we've been without a legit stud at corner forever. Dre Bly was a good player, but Dre Bly came over in free agency from the Rams. Darius Slade was a second round pick that should have been a first round pick, but had a
Yeah,
couple issues, had an ACL injury, I believe, when he was in
yeah,
college. So they kind of like stumbled upon him, similar to the way they stumbled upon Brian Branch. Brian Branch had no business falling as fell. But
yeah,
either edge rusher or corner or front seven, like if they can get a guy in the front seven that can play multiple positions,
yeah.
but can also rush the passer pretty well, I would go in that direction. DB, we gotta start talking about Kirby Joseph also because this is the same knee that was giving him issues last year. Kirby ain't played
Yeah.
in 6 games. It's a damn good chance Kirby probably gonna get shut down for the rest of the season. They feel like they kind of undermanaged it before. So that's where this setback came from as far as him. I think corner, and there's a guy I would probably take a chance on if he was there. But if this team is picking around 15, 14, 13, something like that,
Yeah.
they can get the number one corner or this number two
That's
corner.
it.
Now, the question is, do I trust this organization to draft the right corner? Because historically, this organization has always drafted the wrong corner. Always.
No.
So you came out here and told me that Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw, You guys had them rated as the number two and the number one, the number two corners in the draft last year, and that would turned out to be complete bullshit because they haven't played like it at all. Nobody I talked to in the NFL had either one of those guys rated number one or number two. Quinyon Mitchell was damn near the unanimous number one corner. Nate
Yeah,
Wiggins was a guy that had big time, tremendous physical traits, but had some off the field issues at Clemson.
yeah,
Lassiter was a guy who played in the slot a lot at Georgia, but was still widely regarded as the best nickel in this class. Then you had Cooper DeJean, who was a big time athlete, who had versatility. Was he a safety? Was he a nickel corner? Was he an outside guy? All of those guys were better than Terrion Arnold, and all of those guys have played better in the pros than Terrion Arnold. So for me, they have to get that cornerback position settled.
yep.
They
That's a
have
big
to,
spot for me. They
and
have to because there's no threat at all of being able to stop the other team's best receiver. Man, I think that that's a big advantage that teams know. I mean, look at the Giants game. Like you said, it's ridiculous how you leave a corner receiver running free with no pushback. I mean, if a team can know if they need 15 against the Lions, if it's third and 15, they're getting it. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big issue. That's one of the reasons why Aiden Hutchinson can't be effective. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't have a guy that's in man coverage. I mean, we're getting by with Meek Robertson, and Meek Robertson's been our best corner. He's necessarily not
he should
a
be the nickel,
corner. Yeah, he should. That's
right?
what I'm saying. He's not. He's playing corner all season because of the situation we're in with injuries and stuff. And teams know that, and they've been taking advantage of it. He's undersized, and I remember 2 years ago you were banging the table for Christian Gonzalez. And Christian Gonzalez, the guy's got good size, 6'2", 6 foot, 6'3", that can match up against most receivers. So, I don't know.
Well, he
Yeah,
brought up golf, and I want to get on that before we get out of here because you wanted to talk about golf's contract as we speak. Because
yeah,
golf is right now 31 years old. Contract through 2029. They have the option to void his contract in 2029. Base salary for 2025 only 18 mil. He got $14.6 million prorated signing bonus. Cap number 32.6. Now this is where things get crazy because his
yeah.
base salary goes from 18 mil this year to $55 million next year.
Ooh,
So his base
ooh,
salary is $55 million next year. Golf has a cap number of $69.6 million. He takes up 21.9% of the cap next year. Um, if you cut him, which they're not going to do, but if you were to cut him before June 1st of next year, you're talking about saving $29.2 million against the cap. Um,
yeah,
so this comes down to, is this team willing to make the tough decisions like the Rams were willing to make? Where they were, listen, man, I won a lot with this guy, but I can win big without him. Just trust me. If you're Sean McVay, that's kind of like what your push was to getting rid of him. And it worked because you immediately won after he left. But they had to eat some of that money too. So Detroit, if it ever came to that, because let's be honest, the heat becomes a lot hotter on you when you go from making 18 mil to 55 mil. Um, you can't really justify paying the quarterback having a cap number of $69.2 million next year, and you're not a playoff team. Or if you're having issues with the offensive line, he's not a guy that can make things happen and improvise and still stop the bleeding and not let a possible 2-game losing streak turn into a 6-game losing streak. So make no questions about it. If this team isn't good next year and this man isn't helping anything, it's going to get a lot hotter. That chair is going to get a lot hotter because it's hard to justify paying any quarterback that type of money moving forward. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. You have any closing comments on golf and his contract and what potentially happened next year?
No, I think you said it best. I mean, there's no need to really beat a dead horse in that that regard. I mean, because we kind of know where we stand. You know what I'm saying? I don't. Are they going to do anything drastic? And now he's not the quarterback. No, I think he'll be the quarterback. But the problem is going to lie, like you said, if we continue not to win. You know what I'm saying? If we miss the playoffs this year, and then next year, and it's not the same result, which is Super Bowl. Which we kind of are all pointing to. Then, like you said, I think that will kind of weed itself out. I really do. I think he's got like next year. I think if next year, if let's just say we really underachieve, then I think then we can revisit the conversation and something serious could happen. But as far as moving on from Jared Goff, but I don't think like right now, nothing's gonna happen, breaking news or anything like that. You know what I mean? For right now, the Lions just got to focus on the rest of the season developing Miles Frazier. I mean, I think that's the number one thing in my book. I'm developing Miles Frazier, pick number 71. You know what I'm saying? That's the guy that I want to see on the field. You're not holding back for anything. You're not saving them for anything. This season, maybe like you said, another loss that maybe, you probably will start seeing guys shut down who are banged up. You know what I'm saying? Just like you said, Kirby Joseph could be a guy that might not come back. You know what I mean? I think St. Brown, they haven't ruled them out yet. Obviously, for next week is too soon, but you wonder if St. Brown's got some lingering injuries or something, and he may shut it down after a couple more losses, or uh, you know, you just see guys start. Taylor Decker's another guy who's fought through a lot of injuries. I know we're gonna have some more Taylor Decker show. And listen, I ride with Taylor Decker, man. That's my guy. You know what I'm saying? He's been here since the beginning, and he's fought hard for this city, man. It's heartbreaking to kind of see Taylor Decker body trying to break down on him. You can tell that he's got something going on, man. He's the one guy I wish he would be a guy that could stick around, but he won't. But that's about it, man. I know we're gonna be back here, with some more content, on this team the next coming week. So
All right, for sure. Want to thank everybody for joining us this Saturday morning. One Pride.